Welcome again everybody. Today's video is about our trip around the bay on New Year's Eve 2025. Namely, we drove to Mornington Peninsula and then jumped onto Sorrento Queenscliff ferry, which took us across to Bellarine Peninsula, and from there we returned back home to Melbourne via Geelong. We did close to 300 kilometers on this round trip, and it was a perfect day out on the New Year's Eve day. First, we visited Ripe and Ready Cherry Farm in Red Hill on Mornington. Mornington Peninsula is situated southeast of Melbourne, marking the east side of Port Phillip Bay, which is the largest bay in Victoria, with Melbourne sitting at the northern tip of it. It features 192 kilometers of coastline, beautiful wild ocean beaches, hot springs, wineries, historic townships, vast wetlands, blue carbon ecosystems, unique biodiversity, and a lot more. Together with Western Port Bay, which includes Phillip Island and French Island, Mornington Peninsula has been designated as a UNESCO area since 2002, focusing on balancing conservation and sustainable human use. Mornington has been a popular tourist and holiday destination for Melbournians, as well as tourists from all around the world for decades now. Some of the most popular coastal hotspots are townships of Dramana, Rosebud, Rye and Sorrento. On this trip we travelled past the first three to get to Sorrento. Our first stop, however, was the Cherry Farm in Red Hill, which is situated inland on Mornington, but close enough to the coast, only about 20 minutes away. Unfortunately, when we arrived to the Cherry Farm, they had already closed it for picking. We are at Mornington Peninsula, New Year's Eve 31st. We just got to the farm, Cherry Farm, and it's just right there. Unfortunately, as we walked in, they said they closed the day for the picking. So we bought a kilo of cherries. Anna is just enjoying them there. A little bit on a pricier side. We had two options, $20 a kilo for sweeter and smaller ones, or $35 a kilo for these bigger and crunchier ones, and they're really yummy. I just tried one before. I'm looking forward to actually having some more, but what a shame. We were really looking forward to picking some cherries today. Nevertheless, Arthur's Seat is only about 10 minutes away from here, maybe 15 minutes, so we're gonna just drive there, and then later on we are going on the Sorrento Queenscliff ferry. We're gonna enjoy that one, and then we'll go via Geelong back to Melbourne later on. So that's our New Year's Eve for today, in 2025, 2026. But what a beautiful day down at Mornington today. Perfect day. 20 degrees. Normally it's usually like in the mid-30s New Year's Eve. Every other New Year's Eve over the last few years it's always been very hot, but we can just relax and enjoy today because the weather is really nice. All right, off we go. Our next stop was Arthur's Seat Eagle Gondola ride, which was about 10 to 15 minutes drive from the Cherry Farm. We spent about a couple of hours there, had a picnic and took the gondola ride. The gondola was manufactured in Switzerland and he replaced an older chairlift. He uses over 2 kilometers of steel cable, and there are 34 gondolas in total. The ride takes about 15 minutes each way, and there are interesting gift shops at each end. The scenery was stunning all the way. This was by far the highlight of the trip for the both of us. Big red spinning wheel. It's been a few years since we came here. Oh, it's so quiet actually, a little bit windy. But look at Mornington Peninsula. What a view. This is insane. It is on a cooler side today, even though it's New Year's Eve. Normally 30 plus degrees days on, I don't remember last time when it was this cold on New Year's Eve. But it makes our trip much easier. I don't want to stand up.
Yeah.
Because it is slightly shaking in the wind. There's the car park. Where's our car? There's our car right there, look. Woohoo! The one with the pod on top.
Oh my God.
Wow, loving it.
So
Very, very nice. The view is just insane.
definitely.
I
That's
think
where I went swimming. Do you see where
Dromana,
you
yeah.
know where that pier is?
Where the pier is, look, it's been dismantled. That's what you've been talking about. Yeah, yeah.
They're rebuilding that.
Yeah, I could see it. There's a ship in the far distance. The Bunwurrung and Burrung peoples are Indigenous Australians of the Kulin Nation who have lived sustainably in the area for more than 40,000 years as hunters and gatherers. The first European to climb Arthur Seat was the explorer Matthew Flinders in 1802 during his famous and important circumnavigation of the Australian continent, which was the first of its kind. After scaling a towering hill on April 27th, he left his name and the name of his ship on a scroll of paper deposited in a small pile of stones at the very top. However, acting Lieutenant John Murray was the first European to see the hill in February 1802, and he named it Arthur Seat as it reminded him of a hill back home in Edinburgh, Scotland. Our gondola is literally swinging left and right in the wind. The wind is really, really intense. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. There's our car there. That's better. Now we're going down into the base finally. That was such a trip. High five. High five. That was such a trip. Our next destination was Sorrento, a beautiful township on Mornington Peninsula and a popular tourist destination, especially in summer. We descended the Arthur Seat Hill and drove past the townships of Dromana, Rosebud and Rye on the way to Sorrento. As expected on New Year's Eve, the traffic was very busy all the way, but it was flowing. Just going through Rye, beautiful ride. New Year's Eve, it's so busy. Traffic's been incredibly busy all the way. This is Nepean Road or Nepean Highway. There's so much camping going on. Oh, there's a little Ferris wheel as well there. So it's peak season now, obviously. All of the holiday goers are down here. That's why Melbourne is pretty quiet at the moment. But yeah, apart from Dromana, this is another big hotspot. And then we got past Rye is Sorrento. That's why we're going to catch the ferry to go across to the other side of the bay in Queenscliff. And we're going to drive back via Geelong. Everything. They've got rod and gun. Look on the other side. Do you want to capture it? And there's seed. There's Peter Alexander. They've got everything literally.
Yeah, true.
Ganda, like name a brand. That they have everything.
Sea Folly. Sea Folly is so nice.
In Sorrento, we went to our favorite ice cream shop before heading to the port to catch the ferry across the Queenscliff, which is on the other side of the entrance to Port Phillip Bay. The ferry crossing takes about 45 minutes, and they have all the amenities on board, including a coffee shop, food and souvenir shop. Halfway through our trip, it appeared as if we were on a collision course with a large cargo ship, which was clearly sailing from Melbourne and was heading towards the Port Phillip Bay heads. However, as we got closer to the other ship, it became apparent that the cargo ship is a minute or two ahead of us, and we crossed his part with the water trail that it left only perhaps a couple of 100 meters behind, if not less. Well, this certainly made our trip more interesting for sure. Once we landed on Bellarine Peninsula, we had a quick stop at Fort Queenscliff, which was built in the mid-19th century and became operational in the 1860s, with further redevelopment and improvements taking place during 1870s and 1880s. The fort was operational until after World War II, and its original purpose was to defend the entrance to Port Phillip. The fort became the headquarters to the network of defence points around the heads of Port Phillip Bay, which are the entrance to the bay. We then visited Point Lonsdale Lighthouse, and I'm not going to do any commentary on it on this occasion, as I am mindful of the length of this video stretching out to be much longer than what I originally planned. We headed back home via Geelong, and we were back in Melbourne around 8:45 p.m, which was still a daylight.